Pastor Ben asked me to share about what I saw, what impacted me, and what I learned. The photographer in me saw lots of colors, lots of patterns, and repeating shapes. Beautiful scenery. And faces. Faces of joy, innocence of a baby. The mature, youth, church leaders, curious. Most children were excited to see us. Others were unsure. The contrast jumped out at me. In a Becca where they have no electricity, I expected the drums. But not the electric guitar running off a car battery, charged by a solar cell. Or the child wearing a shirt unbuttoned because it was a warm day, but also wearing a winter coat and a hood. Or the lady in a fancy dress on a bicycle taxi. There's a church just outside of Bujumbura where they have a sound system, electric keyboard, and a church made of bamboo sticks. One of the biggest contrasts I saw also had the biggest impact on me. We drove through a dirty, trashy market, arrived at a church with walls missing from the war. Yet inside, people filled to the brim, singing, worship, praise. And a faith in Jesus that sustains. Just outside the church was the filth of the market, but inside was full of joy. The people in Central Africa labor hard at daily tasks. Transportation, for the most part, is on foot or bicycle, but in either case, they're usually carrying a load. The kids use homemade balls, wooden scooters, and old tires for play. They also work, carrying loads alongside their parents, gathering sticks for firewood, or carrying their younger brothers and sisters on their back. While there, we traveled from church to church, meeting with the leaders. The church buildings were in various stages of completion. If the church was complete, it usually had a larger church under construction close by. This church in Congo uses a small building as a temporary meeting place. They showed us the bricks they're making to build a permanent church. At a church in Burundi, the ladies showed us how they carried the handmade bricks to build their church. We were enthusiastically greeted by small choirs at many of the churches, even though it was the middle of the week. And most of the churches generously gave us gifts of food and drink. We visited the hospital in Kibimba, which has grown and expanded under the direction of Dr. Elise. We visited clinics in the Congo that are desperate in need of infrastructure. And we delivered some basic medical supplies. We traveled with our missionaries in Rwanda, Brad Carpenter and David Thomas, and listened to them teach object lessons on how God wants to redeem all parts of our lives. They emphasize methods of helping without creating unhealthy dependencies on the rich white man. We visited peace centers designed to help heal emotional wounds from the genocide. They also worked with orphans and street kids, teaching them life skills. Once we stopped and prayed for the father of a church leader who's recovering from a broken leg. In Abeka, we celebrated with the first graduating class at the Leadership Training School. From the laughter of the children to the beauty of the landscape, there's sights and sounds I'll never forget. There's stories of faith, perseverance, obedience, such as a pastor walking over 10 miles every week to where God had laid on his heart to start a new church, and preaching on the doorstep to anyone within earshot, until finally one person stopped and wanted to know more. Now, several churches later, the gospel continues to grow. Stories of survival during the genocide and picking up the pieces afterwards. Stories of achievement and stories of continued need. At one church, they said they only needed $95 to complete several $1,000 project. They needed the money right away, or else the local government wouldn't let them keep the land. All four of us were tempted to reach into our wallets and pull out a $100 bill. That's what they wanted, it's what we could do, but it wasn't the right answer. Part of Pastor Ben's message to these churches was that when they rely on us to help, they accomplish little, but when they rely on God, they accomplish much. The message isn't that we stop giving and helping, but that it takes discernment and prayer to know how and when to help to avoid long-term unintended consequences. God is working in the lives of the people of Rwanda, Burundi, and Congo. I've learned from their faithfulness and perseverance. Please keep them in your prayers.